ever since I was a little kid, I can remember going on family vacations up to Lake Vermilion, and I always say, and people ask me, where did I grow a passion for fishing and kind of cut my teeth fishing? It was hopping in a 16-foot Lund and telling my dad, say, Hop, you can go fishing, you can only stay in this area of the lake. And I remember getting that first chance to go out in that boat and then catching a fish on my own, netting the fish on my own, and realizing that it was something I loved to do, and it was a passion that I had. And then as I grew older and we went on guide trips and things like that while we were on family vacation, meeting some of these guides, and I look back, and those are the guys who kind of made me think someday I want to be a fishing guide. And it's always been a dream of mine. And as I grew older and continued to fish and got better at it and went into teaching and coaching, and I realized that there was still something in my life I wanted to do, and that was be a fishing guide. And 8 years ago, when I had the opportunity to join the LOA team and got asked to be a fishing guide, it was really a dream come true. And I look back to those days when I was a kid and going on those trips up to Lake Vermilion and thinking to myself, someday that's going to be me. And lo and behold, 8 years later, the opportunity came, and now I'm a fishing guide, and I love every single day of it, and I love taking people fishing, and every day is a new day in my world. When it's all said and done, having the opportunity to be a fishing guide is really the part of my life I think I might love most, because spending the day on the water with people, or my family, or anyone for that matter, it's really a dream come true. So I'm Jason Freed. I'm an LOA fishing guide, and this is my life, the guide life.
The Guide Life with Leisure Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by these great partners: Chase on the Lake, Cedar Point Realty, Ray's Sport and Marine, Blackfish Gear, and Swanson's Bait and Tackle.
So it's midsummer now out here on Leech Lake, and that typically means one thing: bug hatches. And we're kind of at that point now where these mayflies have hatched or are still hatching, and we've got all these bug hatches going on. And so what usually that means from a fishing guide standpoint is you got to be ready to go with everything. So leeches, crawlers, even sometimes pulling minnows along can be all, really good tactics to catch walleyes out on Leech Lake. So I've got the whole Pizza Ranch buffet in my boat here, so I've got it all ready to go today, and we are going to start off here. It's kind of early in the morning still, and so what I like to do is just make sure the sun is high today, and if I can let that sun get a little higher and let those main lake rocks, some of the areas on the lake like Annex and Big Rock and Submarine and the areas around Pelican, where you have really, really nice rock reefs. I'm gonna let those warm up a little bit with the idea that we'll go back here later morning, early afternoon, and we'll pull spinners. And so what I like to do in the morning then is go into some of these areas along these sand flats and sand breaks and areas where there's mud transitions and look for those walleyes eating on those bugs or chasing perch, because those perch oftentimes are going to be eating those bugs as well. So we're going to start off this morning here, and I'm going to pull some rigs with either crawlers or leeches and see if we can find some of these fish feeding and gorging themselves. And if we transition from there, we'll go out and pull some spinners and hopefully have a great day. see if the guy screws this one up. Typical leech bite was kind of hanging there, and then it just grabbed it and when it took off. There. There we go. Hooked up here. Feels like one of those smaller ones, but just a typical leech bite. Sometimes they just hang on it and then they just grab it and take off. Pretty similar year class fish, but still fun nonetheless. There we go. Get this one unbuttoned and back in the lake, but you could see it just chowed that leech. Just another, what's 16.5 inch or so. Let me get the hook out of that one here. Just hooked right in the tip of the hose. But so, you know, Leech Lake is just full of these, you know, 16.5, 17 inches right now, which is a really good sign for the health of the lake. But you know, if you're looking to keep some fish, these are the ones you want to keep. And we're gonna get this one back in the lake, but you know, and I'm talking a little bit about the program, but let's get this one back and let's catch a few more. All right, let me talk a little bit about the kind of the program here. You know, I mean, sometimes people can overthink fishing, and you know, the Lindy rig is about as simple as it comes. And you know, for those of you out there, you know, a lot of people have probably heard about it and they've been around for decades, but it's pretty simple. All this setup that we're using here, I use this all the time, whether it's for walleyes, sometimes even smallmouth bass, and with clients, because it's simple. Now you have usually about a 3/8 ounce weight, along with a simple bead to protect the knot so you don't scuff up or lose your knot and lose your fish. And then, you know, leader length can vary, depends on the lake you're at. Leech Lake's a really clear lake, and because of that, I like to use a little bit longer leaders. So typically around 6.5 foot leaders. Good rule of thumb is just kind of use your fishing rod. It's a good tip, and just use your fishing rod as a kind of rule of thumb for the length of your leader. And so like 6.5 is usually good, somewhere in there. And then it really kind of depends, but a number 4 or a number 6 hook. A lot of times I'll throw a bead on there as well. Just as an attractor, and I'll use the same hooks for crawlers and leeches. And it's a pretty simple, you're just gonna get a leech. That's kind of what's been working best. Get a nice jumbo leech here, make sure they're lively here. And just hook it right behind the sucker. It's all nice and lively. That thing just kind of dances and swims. You know, and then the big thing is when you're pulling leeches versus crawlers, is speed. You know, with a leech isn't designed to go fast in the water. And so what I typically do when I'm pulling leeches on a Lindy rig is I pay really close attention to my graph and the speed, and I try to keep it at about 0.4 to 0.6. And I think that makes that leech much more natural in the water, which makes it more appealing to fish. Whereas leeches, you shouldn't necessarily go super fast with a leech. Whereas with a crawler, on a Lindy rig, you can go a little bit faster, and you can sometimes let out a little bit more line, and you can crawlers a little bit more streamlined, and it looks more natural that way. So sometimes with crawlers, I'll go anywhere from 0.8 to a mile per hour with a Lindy rig, and it seems to be more effective that way when pulling crawlers. So like I said, Lindy rig is a super simple thing. It catches a lot of fish, and if you're kind of getting into fishing, it's probably, besides a jig, the next thing you want to have rigged up and ready to go in your tackle box. What was that? Yep. All right, so when you get a bite and you're Lindy rigging, you know, it's a simple thing, but there's a little bit of a process. So when you get that bite, you always want to be holding the line with your finger and always have your bail open. As soon as you get the bite, you kind of let your line go. I like to tell people just take it right off the spool. That way it doesn't catch on the spool, especially when it's windy. All right, give it about 6 to anywhere 8 seconds. All right, after you've done that, and you got to kind of count in your head. You gotta love the anticipation when you're Lindy rigging. That's what's the fun part about it. As soon as you let that line out, you close your bail, you're gonna reel, not nice and slow until it's tight, You can feel the fish on the end of the rod. And they set the hook, just like that. Feels like a decent one. Probably pretty similar to what we've been catching, but fun nonetheless. I don't care if they're 14 inches or if they're 28 inches. I love catching walleyes. The best part about when you're Lindy rigging, when you get the bite, you don't know. It might be a 14 incher and it might be a 28 incher because sometimes they bite pretty similar. This one's actually, it's a better one. A little bit better fish. That's a decent one. Yeah. Cool thing here, I'm going to show you something here too. These fish are not only just eating bugs, but look inside that fish's mouth. Chowing on crayfish. All right, and Leech Lake's full of crayfish, and so sometimes it's about matching the hatch. And so whether they're eating crayfish, a lot of littler walleyes are probably eating bugs. This one was probably down towards the bottom there, just chowing on it, and just literally just eating a crayfish. So nice fish here. All right, probably about a 22 incher. Leech Lake's plump full of these along with eaters. So we're gonna go ahead and get this one back, all right? But we're gonna let her grow and make sure she gets to be a 26 incher someday. So also we've been catching a few fish here Lindy rigging. You know, I talked about the plan earlier, how I wanted to kind of let things warm up. We got a really sunny day, the sun's getting high, it's getting warmer outside, and so we're gonna make a run now, and we're gonna run out to the big part of the lake. And as I talked about, you know, Leech is a lake that's got tons of structure in it, and out on you got these bays where you got some weeds like Steamboat and some of those, and you got Walker Bay, that's deep water and humps and bars and such. And then out on the big lake, you've got these areas around Goose Island where we spent a lot of time here this morning with a lot of sand flats and sand breaks and weed edges with sandgrass. But now we're gonna run out to the big lake, and the big lake is known for big fish, and we're hoping to maybe catch one of those here today, but it's known for big rock structures, rock reefs and bars. And so we're gonna run out and more than likely either keep rigging or we're gonna switch up and start trolling some spinners because with these bugs are hatching on these mud rock transition areas, that's sometimes a great way to cover ground and locate fish. And so whether it's gonna be rigging or pulling spinners, we're gonna have a 1-2 punch and we're gonna go out and see what we can do.
The lakes area is full of wonderful properties and recreational opportunities for you and your family to enjoy. Year-round homes, cabins, and land available. If you have been considering a real estate purchase or sale, we would love to hear from you. Cedar Point Realty, proudly selling the lakes area.
So, you know, Leech Lake's 112,000 acres, and it makes it incredibly diverse. And as a fishing guide, you know, you can sometimes get locked into fishing memories and fishing spots, and people can do the same thing. And I think the one thing as a fishing guide myself and our guide team is that we really take pride in breaking the whole lake down and knowing the different parts of the lake, because, you know, you have parts of the lake that are shallow weeds. You've got parts of the lake that are rock reefs, long break lines, trenches, gigantic sand flats, weeds, everything mixed in there. And you really have to be a good fishing guide out here. You got to really be diverse, and that's kind of the whole program. You know, as we step in the boat every single day, is yesterday you might have caught them on a spinner. Today you might have to catch them on a crankbait. And yesterday they might have been in the weeds, and today they're on the rocks. And so when you look at Leech Lake, you can't just fish memories. You gotta be diverse. You gotta have all the different kinds of bait in your boat that goes along with each and every single day. You just gotta be ready to fish because every day is a different day. All right, this hooked up. A 19-incher, just a good one here. We're just out here pulling bouncers. Just a good fish. There's a lot of them out here on the lake, especially in these rock spots. So when I'm out trying to find locations for spinners, a lot of times people, when they think about spinners, they think about rocks. Well, one of the hard things about trolling spinners or Lindy rigging and rocks is it's snaggy. And so I oftentimes don't fish spinners in those real snaggy rocks. What I look for is what I'm seeing on my Lowrance side scan right here. So if you look on the side scan, you see scattered little boulders here and there, and that's gonna be way more friendly when you're trolling spinners. You're not gonna get hung up as much. The cool thing about trolling spinners is something you can do with your kids. It's something I do with my guide clients. I can have kids in the boat, I can have people who are more novice fishermen in the boat, and they can handle this program because I'm not gonna take them through those gnarly rocks. Instead, I'm gonna try to find these scattered boulders out here in a little bit deeper water, 14 to 18 feet of water, and I can pull through these boulders without getting snagged up. You might get snagged up from time to time, all right, but that's just gonna happen when you're sometimes trolling through rocks. But using my Lowrance side scan, I can find these rock piles and these scattered boulders and these transition areas, and those are all gonna be key things to key in on when you're trying to pull spinners here in the middle of the summer. Oh, there's one. I don't think we're messing with the 19-incher on this one. No. Get that. Yes! That's what we're talking about. We kind of would work hard today. The big ones haven't always shown themselves today, but this beauty did. Look at that one, right there. That's Leech Lake gold right there. It's fish like these that make me tick as a fishing guide. It's stuff like that that gets me fired up. It's like that 41-inch pike when I was a kid, when I can come out and try to catch these 26 inchers, which is that one's probably awfully close to, and get out here and try to chase these things and catch these. It makes it all worth it. And that's part of being a guide, is the grind, and coming out here and putting it all together and satisfying customers. So, that's a beauty right there. It's fat, it's been feeding well. And that's the fun thing about Leech Lake. You can come out here midsummer and you can catch fish, slip bobbers, crankbaits, trolling spinners, Lindy rigs, plastics, jigging wraps, everything, you name it. It's such a diverse fishery, and you could be on this side of the lake and you're catching them on this, and you move to the other side of the lake and you're catching them on that. And it's kind of the best. It's the best of all worlds for people, because you can come here and do what you love to do, and oftentimes catch a lot of Leech Lake walleyes. So come on up north, come see us at Leisure Outdoor Adventures. Come enjoy Leech Lake and its bountiful walleyes, just like this bad boy.
Ray Sport & Marine is your Lund and Mercury headquarters. The 2019s are in and they're better than ever. Lund boats powered by Mercury are engineered to be the best, with unbeatable performance and unmatched strength. Lund truly provides the ultimate fishing experience. Like the 2019 Pro V Limited, loaded with exclusive features and premium styling. The Pro V Limited redefines the term ultimate fishing boat. Ask about how you can build your custom Lund boat too. Experience the Lund difference powered by Mercury at Ray Sport & Marine, Grand Rapids, and Bemidji.
You can't choose the weather, but you can choose to dress for it. Introducing Blackfish Performance Rain Gear. Utilizing patented eVent technology, this advanced membrane allows body heat and vapors to escape while offering 100% waterproof protection with an exceptional combination of waterproof and breathability ratings. Blackfish Rain Gear keeps you dry all day. Whether on the tournament trail or chasing weekend walleyes, choose Blackfish because you can't choose the weather.
You know, I've been guiding with Leisure Outdoor Adventures for 8 years now, and as I said earlier, it's been a lifelong dream to be a fishing guide, and to be part of the Leisure Outdoor Adventures guide team is what it is. It's a team. It's not about one individual. It's not about a name. It's about a team. And you know, as a coach and as a former collegiate player, football player, and whatnot, being part of a team means a lot. And so when Toby and Jeff and those guys asked me to be part of the Leisure Outdoor Adventures guide team, it was a really big honor, because I had heard a lot about those guys, and for them to kind of stick their neck out on the line and give me a chance to do that and to prove myself, it really meant a lot. And I take that too, and I tell people I bleed the LOA brand, and it means a ton to me, and I'm proud to be a Leisure Outdoor Adventures fishing guide. I'm proud to be part of the team because we're a great group of guys. We're family guys. We're kind of like we're brothers. You know, we take care of one another. We work as a team when we're out on the water and when we're off the water. And I really think we do a lot of special things. And I think we're a unique brand. We're more than just fishing guides. We're buddies. We're friends. We're fathers. And it all kind of comes together. And I think what makes us unique in the end. And obviously, we all share the passion for fishing. And so, you know, and as a fishing guide, you get to encounter so many things and so many people. You know, I've had the pleasure of taking, you know, NFL players, Division I football coaches, and that's all great, and I've enjoyed those opportunities. But you know, I've had a time where I picked up 3 guys at the dock, and they told me as I was walking out, I asked them, you know, what's your guys' relation? They said, you're not ready to hear that story. And later on that morning, I heard a story, and I'll keep it short, but it was a story of 3 long-lost brothers. Who 2 of them had met on their mom's deathbed, and the other 2 met literally the day before they went fishing with me. And so to be able to share that opportunity and to take them fishing and to catch fish and kind of bring together this group of brothers was really amazing. And then you have the flip side as a fishing guide. You get those times where you get the funny moments, and I've had I don't know how many moments as a fishing guide where it's been funny and comical and goofy things have happened. And I'll never forget the time where we were fishing in Walker Bay, and it was a really strong wind, and I was trying to run the boat, and the guy in the back was in the back, and he was bouncing around, and his buddy, and they're both the same name, and I'll keep the names out of it just because it's such a funny story. But the guy in the front sets the hook, and he thinks it's a fish, and I tell him it's a rock, and because earlier in the day he had snagged up on a rock, and it ended up being a fish, and I handed the rod back to him like, here it is, and he ended up getting the fish in. And meanwhile, his buddy in the back, I had to tell him he had to net the fish. Well, as he stood to set his rod down, he got down, stepped on my fishing rod, broke my fishing rod, grabs the net, proceeds to hit the fish a few times in the head with the net. Finally, I grab the net, I net the fish. By this time, we're almost in the rocks. I tell the guy up front, we gotta get a good picture. I asked him if he's ever held a walleye before. He said, nope. So I show him how. He gets the thing in his hands. It's a 28-inch walleye. The walleye kicks, it goes flying up in the air like a punt. He literally, it was all in slow motion. He catches it in his hands. I said, all right, that's gonna have to work. And he just goes like this. And now he has a 28-inch walleye just sitting like this in his hands. I'm like, that's gonna have to work. We get a picture, we snap a picture, and the guy, you know, the buddy in the back is still worried about the fishing pole, but the coolest thing was the guy in the front came all the way from West Virginia, caught the biggest walleye of his life. The memory of the whole conundrum in the boat. And when we got done for the other day, we just all laughed about it. And I said, a fishing pole is a fishing pole. I can replace that. But a 28-inch walleye and 2 best friends fishing together, you can't replace that. You know, so to be a fishing guide and to be part of the Leisure Outdoor Adventures guide team is truly an honor. And as I look ahead, this passion will continue to be fueled, will continue to drive me to be a better fisherman, a better fishing guide, a better father, a better friend. But more importantly, I can't wait to see what the next 8 years, 16 years, 20 years has to have in store for myself as a fishing guide. And more importantly, what the next 20 years has in store for Leisure Outdoor Adventures.
Leisure Outdoor Adventures would like to thank all their sponsors for their support in making the guide life happen.